Welcome back, Pot Coven, to another spiritual hygiene episode. This time, Ella is going to be dropping her knowledge on us. But before we dive into all that goodness, let's check in with Jess and see what she's up to this week.
Yo, what up, my people? So just come find me at the Cloak of Love on Instagram, and yeah, I'm not really doing anything right now. Just my one-on-one sessions and preaching about reparenting and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, just visit me, say hi. It'll be cool. Ella, what are you up to?
I am clearing out some inventory, and in addition to that, I am still doing my Patreon. It's, halfway through the month, so come sign up so that we can get you going.
That's adorable.
Ella is not alone.
I am not anymore. Yes, but yeah, so yeah, come join me on Patreon. I've been getting better at sharing videos and doing more like group topics. I can still do individual like witchy homework basically, but sometimes people just don't have time for that. So I'm trying to make it a little more like you just can come and find the little lessons that I post. You can make suggestions, ask questions, that kind of thing. But yeah, so that's all on the link in my bio on Instagram at the.celestial.rose. Jess, what you up to, girl?
Jasmine.
God, sorry. I'm all confuddled. Jasmine, tell us what you're up to, babe.
It's all right. We got the double J's in this group. The next masterclass is going to be all about the zodiac sign archetypes. So that's going to be a big one because we're really going to dive in, get real juicy, going to really we are going to really expand upon really understanding the full spectrum of what each of the 12 zodiac sign archetypes are about. So it's time to get our minds out of just what we've learned from memes, which can be helpful, but memes are just for entertainment, and it's time to take it a step further and really get a nice, deep, rooted, juicy, low vibe, high vibe, everything in between understanding of the signs. But, if you've been listening to all the other episodes throughout this month, you can sign up for all 4 of the masterclass series. So, yeah, if you want to catch the live, it's going to be next week on the 20. When am I holding the lives? On Wednesdays. So it's going to be on the 28th next week if you like catching the lives, because you can ask questions with me if you're on the live, but the replays are evergreen, so that's cool. Also, I might be holding like monthly live webinar classes things. That's like a TBA thing, so definitely always best way to keep in contact with me and what I'm doing is on Instagram, because that's where I'm the most active with like updates. It's just the best place to keep active with updates. So that's satin.saturn. But TikTok's the best place to stay active with the funnies and also info. If you want to learn just like quick astrology info and also have a laugh, same username over there, satin.saturn. But of course, head to jasminewolf.xyz if you want an astrology reading. I do all my readings live over Zoom now. I used to pre-record them and send them to you in a video, but now we do them live face-to-face on Zoom. They're still recorded, and what's great about that is that then you get to keep that recording and you get to watch it whenever you want. If you want to watch it a week later or if you want to watch it a year later, you get to do that. So that's what's up with me. Let's find out what our final spiritual hygiene topic is from Ella.
All right. So we have already covered grounding, clearing, charging, and now we're going to move on to protection. If you've noticed, these episodes have kind of gone in layers, in levels, just like our previous blocks. So protection, for spiritual and psychic energy it's essentially like a defense. You know what I mean? Like it's less putting something out there and more of like holding things in, kind of like I don't know, like if you had farm animals and you put a gate around them kind of a thing, rather than, you know, trying to make them multiply. The focus is more on protecting what you already have rather than gaining more. So, why even do this? There's a lot of interest in spiritual workings, in divination, in energy work, and with everyone just kind of having all these different energies, it's really good to set your boundaries and have strong containers for yourself so that you're not influenced as heavily by people around you or by people doing what they're doing. It also helps you conserve your energy. It's the reason why it's very important for me, because I do not have a lot of energy to spare. So let's talk about a few things we can do to protect ourselves. If you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that I'm a very earthbound, terrestrial, tangible kind of witch. I really work with things that I can touch, see, smell, taste, hear. It's all very important to me. I love Earth very much. I feel like I've spent pretty much most of my incarnations on the Earth because I just fucking love this place so much. It's beautiful. So most of what I am going to tell you is going to be about physical things. And then I have one little visualization exercise. There we go. All right. So one of the things that I do to protect the energy in my home is I place things by my door. I hang them by windows. I really like I said, I'm a very physical, tangible person. So I like to see, my protective items in their place of protection. So I'm going to go through a few things that you can use in a similar way. You can put these items in your bedroom. You can put them in your living room. You can put them by your door. You can put them in your garden. That's another good place to kind of put some protection, although your plants are usually also protective themselves. Some symbols and items you can use, stars and pentagrams. For example, I have one that I made from sticks from a nearby forest that I have a good relationship with, and I hang it by my door because me and the forest are tight like that. So that's just one of my, things that reminds me of, what else is out there that I love. Crosses, if those are relevant to you, horseshoes, nails. These can be like construction nails. They can be railroad nails. They can be stakes, that kind of thing. Any kind of metal is fine, but iron is definitely preferable. Celestial symbolism and imagery, like moons and suns, and I already said stars, I guess, but yeah, like celestial stars. I have a bunch of candle holders that have like moons and stuff on them, and those are kind of what I use to represent those elements in my house. Pumpkins are actually a really popular witch item. I have left a pumpkin by my door for 8 months out of the year, and I don't recommend doing that, but you can leave it out there for like a month or two before you eat it or carve it or whatever. And also keeping animals or symbols of animals, pictures. If you have a specific like animal guide, or if it's within your cultural practice to have like ancestral animal like representations or guides or manifestations, putting up artwork of them and pictures and symbols and statues and all that. All right, moving on to some materials you can use. Iron, I already kind of said that with the horseshoes and the nails. the iron material I use is my cast iron pan. I love my cast iron skillet. So I hang it on my wall for multi-purpose. One, to keep space in my cabinets, and then number two, to help protect the home. You can also use salt across your doorways, across your windowsills. You can use it under your floor mat. You can put a little jar of it like by your bed or in your room or something like that to kind of like keep things away from you. It's a really good cleansing material as well. Rocks. These can be crystals or they can just be rocks. I've found some pretty nice, just, I don't know if they're of anything of, quote unquote value, but they're just fucking pretty ass little rocks and I love them. So you can also just connect to a rock.
As one of my yoga teachers once said, this was, he was having a dharma and someone asked him why his cow was sacred. He was very excited. He just got a sacred cow. And he sat with his eyes closed for a long time as he contemplated the question. And then he opened his eyes and he said, because everything is sacred. And then everyone laughed.
That's a good point.
Everything is sacred. There you go.
Yep. Anything can be sacred. Can be a pretty rock, can be a nice stick. That's also on my list of materials because I also find nice sticks that I just like. And they're just good sticks, man. They're just good sticks.
It also makes me... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It makes me think of Donkey from Shrek.
Oh.
That is a nice boulder.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a nice boulder. Okay, and then I have a long list of herbs and foods that you can either put... Okay, some of these are not edible. I was debating when I wrote these down whether or not I should say each one is edible or non-edible. I feel like they're obvious, but maybe that's just me. What do you guys think? Should I just point out the non-edible ones? Yeah.
Point out the non-edible ones.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like they're obvious, but I have a lot of plant knowledge, so maybe that's just me.
Yeah, no. Don't assume what is obvious to you with plants is obvious to everyone.
Yes, I will not assume. Okay. All right. So let me rattle off some herbs and foods. This is a good time to have your grimoire out if you have one available, or some paper, if you're not driving or doing something important. These plants you can grow, you can eat most of them, you can use a lot of them as incense, etc., etc. If you want to know specifically how to use these application-wise, join my Patreon and I will tell you all about it. All right, so here we go. Aloe, however you guys pronounce it. Technically edible. Yes. Alyssum, it's a little white flower. It's usually like a weed. Amaranth comes in a couple different shapes. Anise, barley, basil, bay as in bay leaf, blackberry, burdock, caraway, carnation, cedar, non-edible. It's a tree. Don't eat it. Cinnamon, clove, coconut, cypress, dill, eucalyptus. I feel like eucalyptus is also non-edible. Don't eat tree leaves for the most part. Fennel, garlic, lavender, lilac. I don't believe lilac is edible as a flower, but I think you can make it into teas or something technically. Lime, marigold, mint, oak, don't eat oak. Olive, onion, papaya, parsley, peppers, pine. Pine's another one that you don't want to directly just chow down on, but you can make pine sugar and pine salt from it, that kind of thing. You can kind of garnish with it. Most strains. Plantain, plum, radish, raspberry, rhubarb, rice, rose, rosemary, sage, St. John's wort, tomato, tulip, turnip, valerian, and yucca. I forget what the other word for yucca is, but Anyway, most of those are edible, as I said. If you don't know if you're allergic to it, proceed with caution. Lots of people have food sensitivities, so just be careful. Don't go around prescribing people, something for protection, spiritual protection, if they're physically allergic to it, because that kind of defeats the point. Okay, we're gonna move on to some protective crystals. I am not your crystal mama. I do not know a shit ton about crystals, but I do have a few favorites that are tried and true for my own personal life, and so I'm just going to share those with you. These are my top 3 favorites. Number 1 at the very top of the list is obsidian. I am a huge obsidian fan. I love the shit out of it. I love the denseness. It's basically volcanic glass, and it's just like an absolutely gorgeous stone, and it's really fun for me to watch people not be able to pass the threshold of the pieces of obsidian that I have. So I highly recommend it. I feel like it's a pretty good deterrent. Black tourmaline, you've probably heard lots of witches talk about it. It's a good bra stone, in my opinion. That's a good pocket bra, tuck it away while you're at work to protect your energy kind of stone. And any type of quartz is also good protection, but especially smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is, your best bet, but all of them are they're kind of like rosemary, where there's so many uses and applications and like applicable energies that it's easy to use for lots of different things. So that's my crystals. That's my 3 crystals that I recommend. Whew. Take a breath here. Okay. I'm going to give you my 1 visualization exercise. I understand that there are people who cannot visualize, and that's okay. If you can't do that, maybe try drawing or writing out kind of the instructions for yourself to kind of give you a picture elsewhere besides in your brain if you can't make those pictures yourself. So for the rest of you who can visualize.
A tip for that, because sometimes I also have a really hard time visualizing unless I'm in the dream realm. So try not to focus so much on what you're seeing and more on like the sensations that you're having based on the words that are being presented to you. Sometimes helps, and sometimes can help elicit a visual representation as well.
Right.
I like that.
I can't visualize as well. I don't have clairvoyance, but I have clairsentience, and a lot of times when you concentrate on like how things sight from it. I don't know if you guys caught that. My computer has been wigging out a bit. Yeah, my computers have been freaking out a little bit. So, but anyways, if you concentrate on how the feelings and sensations, a lot of times you can actually get some imagery from it. It's not like clear as day, but it's certain kinds of imagery, so it can work in a similar fashion. But you just focus more so on the feeling.
Okay. I love that. Thank you.
Tips.
Thank you guys No, thank you. That's perfect. Those are perfect tips. I love it. Okay, so for our visualization, we are going to put a nice, cozy bubble around yourself. This is, in my mind, this was one of like the first things that I did with like urgency. It was one of the first things that I tried out of like magical necessity, where I felt spiritually under attack from someone. And so I was like, fuck, what do I do? And, I usually rely on my herb and plant friends, but this was just a really nice one, and I have been using it ever since. So what you're going to do is you are going to try to find the quietest place possible. You are going to sit or stand or lay down, however you're comfortable, but put yourself in a relaxed state where you can kind of get into your own space and your own thoughts and just kind of exist within yourself. and you are going to imagine that there's a bubble around you. I kind of think of I think it's the Simpsons movie where they put a dome over the town, but I kind of think of it like in that perspective where it's like basically like a nice thick dome over me, and it's just instead of glass, it's made of energy. So just imagine like a small bubble or a dome right over the top of you and just kind of existing right within your personal space. One of the things I like to do when imagining my bubble is I will manipulate the color or the texture of it. You kind of do it based on intention. My favorite manifestation of my protection bubble is this like it's kind of like a violet purple swirly kind of color. I mean, not color, but yeah, like a misty purpley black that just kind of exists in the shape of the dome, and it kind of like swirls around, and it like, you know, it looks like living energy and moving energy. But you can do any kind of color just based on your intention or based on color magic. So, you know, you can use a white bubble if a white bubble feels good for you. However, I feel like they are easier to manipulate because they just shine so bright. Like we've talked about, like with moths to, you know, to a porch light, you know, it can really attract those moths to you when you're trying to protect yourself. So I stray away from the white bubble, but if that's really like your thing, then like, you know, go for it. Yeah. And so like I said, you're going to want to start small. Imagine the dome over yourself first, and make strength the priority of it. So try hard to like hold on to the image, whether you're seeing it visually or whether you're feeling it or whether you've drawn it, but just kind of make that image strong for you. And as you strengthen it, you can make it bigger if you need to. So as you're, you know, getting more practiced with it, you can move from the dome over to yourself to the dome over like, you know, within 100 feet of you, or a dome, you know, over your neighborhood, or, you know, whatever it may be, whatever your goal is in a protective dome. I don't recommend them for long time use because it does take a lot of energy to keep them up. So I recommend using these bubbles for actual, like, you know, if something feels off, or if someone you know is actually out there, like, whatever, trashing your name, or, you know, making threats to you, or, you know, is in any other way like a hindrance to your life, that would be my suggestion of when to use it. So that is all I have for you folks for protection for spiritual hygiene. Hope that was helpful.
I would like to also throw out there that sometimes it's necessary to play offense as well when we're working.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Yeah, sometimes you have to fight. You know, sometimes when we're protecting ourselves. You know, and this is specifically when you can feel like spiritual energy, whether it's, you know, entities. Some of us are sensitive to things like shadow energies, or, you know, maybe even like people are trying to throw like a hex at you or something. I've had a lot of shadow entities recently, and I will just literally fight them.
Yeah, get good at some banishing too. Maybe we'll have to have a section of that.
Right.
Just yeet it out of here.
Yeet it out of here. Yeah. The dome is a good one though. That's a really good one. I used that. I'll use that whenever I'm protesting. It's not one that it's not one I can use the entire time, but whenever there's like a moment when we're like paused or something, you know, or we're like silent, then I'm like, oh, okay, now it's a good time to see how long I can throw up a dome around us, throw up some protection. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, we will be back next week with our 4th episode. Last one in our spiritual hygiene episode. We're very excited to share that one. yeah, you'll just have to check in. I'm not going to give you a sneak peek. Is it going to be a guest episode? Is it going to be a group episode? What are we going to do? What's it going to be? I'm going to leave you totally hanging on a cliffhanger. Yeah, so keep up with us on Instagram. Best way to keep up with us between episodes, Power of Three Podcast. That's the handle over there. And if you want to contact us directly, best way to do that is with our email at powerof3witchpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, that's all from us. We will catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.